Hey, everybody. I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Z Garcia. Hello, y'all. This is live.
This is live. I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to... what day is it, Z?
It's a Thursday.
I'm glad to be here on a Thursday. My kids... So one of my kids today was like, how do we know what day it is? It's like, are you doing school? And then it doesn't matter.
That's right.
When I don't wake you up, then you know it's the weekend. So... anyhow, folks, we're glad to be here for another live board game breakfast. We're glad that you've joined us. We have a lot of things we'll be doing today. But before we get started, I want to mention that we'll be doing a top 10 today at 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time with special guest Paula Deming, where we'll talk about most played games. And I'll be talking about Monopoly, my number one.
Would that be your number one, Tom? I know specifically you're excluding. Tom is going to be excluding games he played as a kid, so you'll be talking hobby numbers here.
No,
would Monopoly be fairly high?
No, I don't think so. Uno would be much higher.
Sure.
And possibly some party games that we played a lot as a kid. I don't know, Stratego, but anyhow.
All right.
Hey. Let's get started, folks. There's not a ton of it, but there's still some news. So here we go. Alrighty, so realize, of course, the news is going to be light over this week and the next few weeks as time goes by. And that's just the way it's going to be because everyone's kind of delaying things. In fact, Asmodee announced they weren't releasing anything before June. And, so... We still are getting games, and we'll talk about these games, but let's just jump right into what we do have. So first, from the op, we have Trivial Pursuit Horror Ultimate Edition. Now, Z is a Kickstarter exclusive. Now, this is not a Kickstarter game. You're moving around the board, answering questions about your favorite genre. So what are the genres? Gore and disturbing, psychological, killer, monster, comedy, and paranormal.
That's awesome. I'm not a big horror movie buff. I'm not, but I like the way this looks. This is like tailor made. I'm sure for some folks out there, they're gonna eat this up, and that's cool, man. I like that this is that they're releasing this. It looks good.
This game would go on forever with me and Z. We'd be playing. I'd be like, all right, so here's the next question. I'd ask him. He's like, I don't know.
I know.
The only way we get please, multiple choice. C. Yeah. So, alrighty. Let's see here. Next thing, we have D&D from Wizards of the Coast are offering more Dungeons and Dragons stuff that you can play. So they have the starter set rulebook, pre-generated characters. This I think is pretty cool. I've been last week we talked about Asmodee and they made Dixit and stuff, and I thought, I don't know if I'm going to print all that stuff out. But making PDFs of role-playing games available online, you don't even have to print those out,
right,
to play the game, or maybe just a couple character sheets and stuff. So I think that's pretty cool, especially since a role-playing game is really tailor-made to move over into the streaming thing, to the point where I've actually toyed with. I'm actually hesitant to say this online. I've toyed with the idea of putting out the call and saying, hey, does anyone have an RPG? I might pop in and play an RPG for a while online. Because you could, right?
Right,
With
yeah.
Zoom or Twitch, it'd be an easy thing to jump into. And I wouldn't have to do any preparation. I could just show up and play. I hope.
Pretty much. I mean, it depends on how much you have to, I guess, know going in. But yeah, it should be a fairly easy thing to just sort of show up and do it. This is nice. I'm glad to see more companies continue this push of providing some sort of content to make the time at home for everybody a little easier, a little more filled with distractions. So this is a good move. Kudos to them.
All right, Bruno Catala is the main focus of our news story today.
Yeah,
because there's been a lot of stuff. Eric Martin posted on Board Game Geek. Blue Orange Games has a game coming out called Dragomino. Dragomino. This is from Blue Orange. Actually, this one's I don't know when this one's coming out. Blue Orange just sent me a pile of games, and I'll be reviewing them all. I played every single game they sent me. I'll be reviewing them all over the next couple months. But this was not on that list. But it looks good, and Blue Orange games are usually good if they are lighter themed for families.
Mm-hmm.
I did not expect this next piece of news, an expansion for Imaginarium, a game that I thought Z was the only person who ever played.
Correct. No, there's another guy. I ran into him once.
At the Imaginarium convention.
Yeah.
And if you thought the first one had creepy art, they're trying to up that ante.
Yeah, look at that Miss Piggy creepy looking thing. Those eyelashes and teeth are really where it's at.
I thought the other one is more creepy.
Oh, the other one is definitely a creeper, yeah.
So it's just so weird, this game, the art. But at least it's distinctive, I guess. When you see it, you know what it is.
That's true. I do like the game, so I'm curious to see what they're doing here. They're adding more of a few different things. It also sounded like they were working on some sort of team variant, I think, from what I read online. So, and it says that here too, yeah. So, this is, I don't know when this is coming out, but I'll be tuned into it.
Do you still have Imaginarium?
I do still have it, yeah.
Okay. Well, that's cool. All right, he also announced a new game from Archaeon, Insert, a 2-player strategy game. He said it was born while he was half asleep one morning after waking up. But he thinks this is his best game, he says. Every designer will avoid saying what their best game is. He says he don't think it's likely it will be his biggest commercial success, but it's what he considers to be his best game. He says it's a abstract 2-player weird style game. That's really intriguing me that he thinks it's his best game.
I know. I'm very curious to try this, to even just see it. There's no information about it really at all, except that he had a dream and then came out with this. But yeah, when he says that about his own games, that he says specifically in the past he has avoided answering that question. But he says now he's thinking from now on, when asked, he will say, "This game, I got to see this thing."
All right, the next one is one that this was really surprising to me. So first of all, I was reading the news about this and found out that Bruno Catala and Serge Leggett were working on a new version of Shadows over Camelot. I'm on board right there. Mm-hmm. I mean, hands down. And so, but here's the thing. So they were working on this, and they started working on the next version. They said that Shadows over Camelot was doing well, but they feel like cooperative games have evolved since then. I would argue it still holds up pretty well today, but I get it, right? So they worked on a second one, but they wanted to move it into the future where you were descendants of Knights of the Round Table and you were hiding the Grail in the depths of a city to stop supervillains of the 19th century time. And now they want to call it Shadows over Brooklyn or something like that. The problem is that Days of Wonder wants to keep it with the medieval setting. And they want to, and they don't. And what's fascinating about this is the fact that they said this publicly. Mm-hmm. And they said it's also kind of a congenial disagreement, from what I can tell. Like, they're saying, well, we'll see what happens here. But he said there's 3 possibilities. They will either wait till Shadows over Camelot is completely sold off, or get the rights back from Days of Wonder and look for a new publisher, or reprint Shadows over Camelot and then publish this one from another publisher or something.
Right.
So that's kind of...
Yeah, he did kind of say in the write-up that he felt it was different enough from Shadows over Camelot that it didn't seem problematic to publish both from different publishers. So yeah, that might be it. That I'm sure somebody will scoop up anything from Catala named Shadows over whatever he wants, So if he wants to get this out there, Days of Wonder doesn't want to. Like
they might call it something else, I would imagine.
Like what?
No, I don't know. I'm saying that if I was Days of Wonder, I'd be like, if I was going to say, hey, go make a game with another company, don't call it Shadows over something.
Call it The Moon Above various things casting penumbra on Brooklyn.
All righty, well, moving on into news that we really don't know a whole lot about.
Aww.
And I want to be super clear about that. Come On Limited stock on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange was suspended.
Yes.
So I've talked to some people. There's this whole terminology called going concern. Come On posted a response that said, hey, everything's okay. Don't worry about it. People are assuming that the sky is falling or not falling. The fact of the matter is, I don't know.
Right.
I tend to just put my trust in them. I wondered if this would affect their Kickstarter of Ankh. It apparently has not. As that Kickstarter, I believe, is over 1 million last time I looked at it. So we'll have to wait and see. But I do know everyone is coming in, all the armchair accountants, and everyone is coming in explaining whether this is good or bad. All we know is that this is what was announced. There was an announcement made, a response to it. I don't know a whole lot about the business world in this regard, so I don't have any strong opinions about it one way or the other. I other than I hope that it's just overblown and that we'll move on from it.
Yeah, basically the news was, though, that they are being audited, I believe, and had to stop trading on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange while I guess their books are looked at, right? That's basically what we know. Yeah, how bad, what that means, is it bad? I mean, it's not good, I suppose, but is it, catastrophic, or is it simply a holding pattern that some, timing window triggered? That we don't know. Yeah.
All right. Someone said news we don't know a lot about means everything. That may be true, but sometimes we do know something about the news. I just want to be careful to sometimes, it's easy to wax eloquent about a subject and you don't know everything behind it. And I'll talk about that in just a second. An Irish board game manufacturer is using its production line, Cartamundi, Ireland, to make medical test kits. I always like to promote when companies do positive things like this. So it says Cartamundi is already making face shields at its factories in Dallas and in Massachusetts. So they're continuing to do stuff like that. And so we applaud them for that.
Yes, absolutely.
Henry Cavill. Is that how you say his last name? Is it Cavill or Cavill?
Yeah, Cavill. Henry Cavill, yeah.
Who was once known for Superman, but has revamped his image into The Witcher. Toss a coin to him. Is spending his quarantine time painting Warhammer miniatures. So he was talking about that. It was interesting. Some of the terminology he used in the article that I read, he said plastic crack. And I was like, he's a gamer. Because plastic crack is not like a phrase that people outside the hobby ever use.
Right. Oh, I did not see this before. So, okay, he's into video games. I knew that. And I guess tabletop gaming as well, Warhammer and that kind of stuff. Cool.
Yeah, no, it's always cool because stuff like this, brings more eyes to the hobby. So I like that. Raiders of the North Sea has a digital version now available from Garfield. So if you want to play that online, you can. And this is certainly time for that. And Spirit Island, early access is coming April 16th. Isn't that today? That is today.
That is today. Right. After the show, people. Let us get this done first.
All right, there's a new expansion for Good Cop, Bad Cop from Pull the Pin Games. This I thought Good Cop, Bad Cop had
Decent Cop.
Actually, it's called Promote It.
Oh.
And this is coming to Kickstarter. You'll take extra actions on your turn that no one else can. This is interesting. I guess I just thought Good Cop, Bad Cop was kind of done, honestly.
I know, it's back.
So that's cool. And then in more unfun news, but not expected news, Origins Game Fair has been postponed to October 7th through 11th. So a couple of things of note here. First of all, they postponed it, which is going to cause its own logistical problems, obviously, if you only had time off in June, etc. But, but at least it's still happening, we hope, depending on, if everything's going on in October. It is 2 weeks before Essen, which has caused some, there's going to be a lot of conventions crowded in the end of this thing. They're also doing Origins online. I'm seeing a lot of these online conventions being announced. I guess no one has explained to me what the necessarily attractiveness to that is. Because there already is a ton of content online anyway. So what's the difference between, Dice Tower, Board Game Geek streaming stuff, Brothers Murph, etc. What's the difference between that and, a convention streaming online?
I don't know what this is exactly. I'm not sure if I think it might be a little bit of it all, but I think it must be streaming sort of seminars, which is fine. That's cool. And I think the gaming part, they're just doing sort of online gaming, which I guess folks do on just sort of, Tabletopia or the Board Game Arena, that kind of thing. I'm not certain what this all entails. Is this sort of just an umbrella under which there is, places online for people to get together and game and things to watch? I'm guessing that's it. I'd have to see this to see exactly what this means. I'm not sure right now.
Along these same lines, Board Game Geek Spring 2020, that's just been straight up canceled. But if you had a ticket for it, it automatically rolls over to Board Game Geek Spring 2021. They also, I was just watching their live thing on Twitch. They said they're going to do something online too, but they don't know what yet. They're still working on the details for that. So now, to this end, we've been getting lots of questions, obviously. What about Dice Tower East? Since that's in July, which is not too far off in the future. And the simple answer is it's currently still on, but we're obviously looking at the situation. But what a lot of people don't realize many times is that sometimes your hands are tied, and all these conventions' hands are tied, because until governments basically say you can't do stuff during a time frame, then the people who hold your contract can basically say you have to do it because you can. So you have to wait till they say it can't be done, and then you can go back and renegotiate. Otherwise, you could lose hundreds of thousands of dollars and essentially go bankrupt, which would happen to pretty much probably every convention that doesn't have tons of insurance and things like that. So as Dice Tower East, July is unfortunately still just a little bit too far in the future for us to make a definitive call either way without us running into problems with the hotel or with contracts and all the money that's tied up. The money's tied up in different organizations. It's there. So for us to get that money back, we need to get some word on that. We're hoping that by mid-May, we'll know 100% for sure. Well, I mean, we will know something by mid-May. We'll for sure have an announcement up. But it's something that I promise you we definitely look at and think about often. I wouldn't say every hour, but, that's something that's certainly coming to effect. And once we know, we'll announce it as soon as we can to help you all out.
Yeah.
And this is the way it's going to be going all year. There's going to be many, many things that are going to be canceled and done. But the good news is it seems like everyone has stepped up their online games. There's lots of things you can go to online and hang out and do things and play games, and companies giving out free games and such.
Yeah.
So I do like to push that positive thing there. So
I agree. It's a good time to come together and support one another. And, I think this is a good hobby for that. And while these are very trying and unfortunate times, I think it's highlighting some of those things that we all knew in the back of our heads anyway. So that's wonderful. Let's make the best of it.
I agree. And speaking of the best of it, let's take a look at some of the best of our contributors. Here we go.
Hello, fellow gamers. So, how's it going? I know I'm here at home doing a whole lot of stuff, playing games, chatting on the internet, being kind of bored. Just, organizing my dice collection. Picked some weeds the other day. That was fun. Yeah. I mean, I don't know how many people have actually started one of those sourdough bread starters, but I feel like we're all gonna know how to make sourdough bread after this, okay? Yep. I mean, do you even Animal Crossing? Featured this week, we have The Rat Catcher by Platypus Industries that relies on one rat hater with a personal love for magical cheeses to defend and clear the streets of enchanted rats for about 30 to 45 minutes, as you'll be using actions to set traps, fend off those bitey little rats, and face your arch nemesis before the cheese is lost. In this rat-infested dungeon crawl style game that includes a modular board, little tiny rapples, and an unhealthy obsession for cheese that starts at just $45. Speaking of obsessions, we have Ankh, Gods of Egypt, from Come On Games, that takes 2 to 5 gods and settles that age-old question. Which Egyptian god is the coolest of the land? As players will be sending out followers to rack up those devotion points and dividing regions and securing power to ensure their lands will be the most awesome, all while settling disputes with a fistful of cards and a hand from Ra for about 90 minutes. In this game that utilizes a shared action board and relies on you to maneuver guardians strategically across the land. Gods can even join up if they're falling behind in devotion and knock someone off their high horse in this divine game that starts at $100. Next up, we have Wolfenstein by Archaeon Studios that takes your childhood love and nostalgia of video games and packs them into a tiny little box full of minis for 1 to 4 soldiers, as players will be quietly searching the halls and taking out enemies in this cooperative dungeon crawl that lasts for about 60 to 90 minutes. But that's not all, folks. This campaign carries a pledge that contains a fully plastic dungeon terrain kit. Now you too can set up a swanky dungeon for your hamsters to crawl through while you battle evil on the side. Now the base game for this starts at $120. And lastly, we have Planet Unknown from Adam's Apples Games that finally has the one thing I've always wanted in a game, guys, a lazy Susan that distributes little bits for all the players. As 1 to 6 colonists will be drafting little polyomino-shaped regions of land and trying to create the most habitable planet for 60 to 80 minutes in this terraforming game that has asymmetrical planets and player boards, making every game a new pattern building challenge. This Goldilocks Zone game starts at $49. Thanks so much for joining me this week, guys. If you want to know more about any of the Kickstarters that you saw here today, then join me at gloryhound.com as we will talk about all of these Kickstarters in depth and if we would back them or not. It is a live show, so while you're in quarantine, you can chat with us and hang out and talk about all these Kickstarters in depth and if you guys would back them or not. And other than that, I hope everybody stays happy, safe, and healthy during this quarantine time, and I will see all of you guys next week.
I always want to know why someone doesn't want to play a war game. I want to go down deep in their psyche. So I took this opportunity to hide my cell phone in my house while my daughter was coming over, and I asked her the question. No, but have you ever played a war game?
I've never bungee jumped and I still don't want to.
So she's comparing opening up a box of cardboard, putting out some chits, to jumping off a cliff with a string attached on her. I just want to understand why you wouldn't play a war game.
I just want to understand why fruit scares me, but it doesn't make sense either.
Fruit scares her, right? So if she goes into therapy, it's going to take 20 years before she eats fruit. To play a war game, it takes half an hour. Say hi to the people from the Dice Tower. That's what I wanted to know.
That's not okay. Dad!
You see, I want to help her. And people like her. And how can I do that? Have them play a Worthington Publishing game. Last week, we played Shiloh. This week, Antietam, one-day battle. And what you get with this game is a Civil War Brigade battle series. These are the series rules. You get them in every Civil War Brigade battle series. So you read it once for Shiloh, you don't have to read it again. So you read the playbook and it tells you about the details of that battle. And what's cool is there's a detailed description of the commanders, the generals, and their subordinates. And if you're playing this game in a history class to learn about the Civil War, especially that battle, Antietam, you want to know who told who to go there to get obliterated. It's history. You get 4 counter sheets, 2 player aids, and a sincerely beautiful mounted map, 8 panels big. This is an old school war game, meaning that it takes from the previous games years before it And Worthington Publishing makes it accessible and easy. Great game to get into. This game is as easy as Dominion. Let's go into the sequence of play. So this is an I go, you go type thing, right? So first player, he does his command phase. See this guy, bottom right, Doubleday? He's a general, so he can command up to 4 spaces away, his color only. So they're all within 4 spaces of the commander. That's it. That's it. Now it's your organization phase. What do? Well, you blow things up or you build things. That's it. Now it's your offensive artillery phase. What do? You fire the cannons. That's artillery. And now it's your movement phase. What do? Well, you move. See, I'm trying to be funny here, but what I want to say is that that's how easy it is. And combat, I've explained it in last week's video. It's that simple. Try this game. Give it a shot. I'll see you next week.
All right, everybody, welcome back to Z versus the Internet.
I can
Huzzah!
do this.
I'm not 100% sure you can.
I can try to do this.
Well, again, you probably should stop lying. But all
I'm
right,
here.
so
I'm here. I showed up. I'm gonna shut up, Tom.
So the way this works, folks, for those of you watching, I'm going to ask a question, which will have some sort of answer. I will pick randomly 4 of you that are next to each other as you answer these questions, and then Z will give an answer. And if Z is the closest, he gets 5 points. If he's closer than one of you, he gets 3 points. And no one gets points if he's only closer than 2 of you. If 3 of you are closer to the answer than Z, then you get 3 points. And if all 4 of you are closer than Z, you get 5 points. Who won last time? I do not remember. I think the people won.
It did at the end. It was pretty down to the wire. And then the last question, I think I answered blueberries, but it was a numerical answer. So, and I lost. Yeah.
Well, speaking of numerical answer, so
Uh-huh.
today I don't have a theme. Instead, one question runs into the next. All right, so it's kind of working like that. But I was looking at the Dice Tower views, how many views we get on our channel, and so I looked at the views from last year, and I was curious what day we had gotten the fewest views on our channel. So this time you're giving me a date from January 1st to December 31st. That's it. 365 days. Which day did we get the fewest views? Now, Z actually could, use some judgment of, what happened and where things happened and such.
If my memory wasn't absolute garbage, yeah, sure.
All righty. So, again, once you have a guess in there. But once I start reading, your responses, you guys can.
Am I allowed to look up which days of the week land on which numbers?
No, that would be cheating there, man.
All right.
So I'm just going to go through, wait for a few more answers, blah, 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 blah. And, you can't say an actual number day because that's not very helpful to me. All righty, here we go. I got 4 of them. So we got, never mind. Go ahead, Z, what do you got?
All right, I got February the 30th.
All right, February, stop. I can't believe I started writing that.
Sucker! No, I did say February 24th.
February 24th. All right, so we have July 4th. We have Christmas. We have September 10th. And we have December 24th. All right. So 2 days that are right next to each other.
Mm-hmm.
And the actual answer is indeed July 4th. July 4th, we're at the Dice Tower Convention. So therefore, we're not putting out as much content. And I assume America is our number 1 audience for sure. And a lot of people go do picnics that day, I guess. But it was a clear winner.
Really?
Christmas is not number 2 and such. So, Z, you were closer than 3 of the people, even though one of them got it exactly.
That's wild.
So I'm still giving Z 3 points, even though by the spirit. Well, actually, let me see. Is February closer than September? No, it is not. I apologize. So it's a tie. And since it's a tie, I have to give it to the people since one of them got the date exactly. So 3 points to the people.
What? What a reversal of fortune.
That's what you get when you say February 30th. All right, so.
It was worth it.
All right, so speaking of July 4th, some major things happened on July 4th. Can you list one?
The independence of this country?
Garbage! No one cares about that. All right, so actually, the Louisiana Purchase was signed on April 30th, but it was announced to the American people on July 4th. That's when we found out about the Louisiana Purchase.
I was watching TV that day, I remember.
Yes. For $15 million, the United States acquired quite a bit of land. How many square miles of land did they get to the west of the Mississippi River for $15 million, which is probably the current cost of the land our houses land on right now? So how many square miles?
Okay.
So it's a lot of land. It's really funny though. Like 15 million would be like the cost of like a block of houses here in Miami at this point.
Yeah. So the Louisiana Purchase, how many square miles of land?
Yep. So a lot of people are saying no idea.
Yeah, exactly. No idea.
How many square miles? And the answers are starting to roll in, so you can go ahead and give your answer, and then I will grab these.
Jeez, this is insanity. I don't know. I'm going to say 850 square miles.
Okay, so just to clarify, you're saying 850,000
square miles.
So you're saying. So just to clarify, you're saying
just 850.
Which one now? You keep going back and forth.
The one that's closer to how land works. Can I do this in cubic inches instead? Would that be okay? I have no idea. You know I'm bad with this stuff.
All right.
Square miles? What? 2 miles. It's got to be more. 2,000? I don't know. 2,000 square miles, Tom.
All right, 2,000. All right, so the people guessed 20,000, 3 million, 2 million, and 500,000.
Okay.
And the actual answer is 827,000 square miles. So if you had only kept your answer of 850,000, you would have won 5 points. As it is, 5 points for the people.
Oh, that's what I said. What do you mean? I'm confused. Clearly, you know enough to disregard the first thing I say and the last thing I say. It was the middle answer. 'Twas given.
All righty. So
what's a mile? That's my main question.
Well, speaking of miles, I mentioned the Mississippi River there. Mississippi River is the longest river in America. Well, this one you should have some sort of guess too.
Oh,
I've crossed the Mississippi River at both a very small point and a very wide point. I want to know how long it is though in miles.
6.
Well, hang on. Let the people give their choice first.
Oh, it sucks, man. Let me think.
Alrighty.
It's trivia. Can we do horror trivia instead? Bring out that Trivial Pursuit. Smoke you in that.
A horror. Okay. Well, this will. Well, never mind. You just got to take a beating here on this one. All right. I got some people's things here. So let me write these down. I don't understand that one, but all right, I'm writing it down. All right, go ahead, Z. What do you guess?
5,200 miles.
All righty, 5,200 miles, which, just as a heads up, is actually longer than the United States is wide. But the People's Choice said 1,254, 10, 3,000, and 2,000. I'm not sure why someone wrote 10. And the actual answer is 2,348. which means everyone was closer than Z except for one person. So that's 3 more points for the people.
Man, I'm changing my 20 questions. I'm changing it. I got a little time. You gonna play like this? I'm gonna play like this back. You'll never guess it, fool.
All right.
What else you got?
I'm gonna jump off of rivers here, and so there's some pretty.
You know what you should do is jump off bridges.
Someone's bitter.
It was low hanging fruit. I had to. You made it too easy.
Alrighty. I often in these games talk about buildings that are tall, but today I want to talk about a building that is huge. So the largest building in cubic space, do you know what it is actually? It's the Boeing plant in Everett, Washington. It has a huge volume because that's where they build all the planes.
Right.
But the biggest building in terms of floor area is the new Central Global Center. It's in Chengdu, China. It's this gigantic building that is actually bigger than Vatican City.
Wow. Okay.
I know. So how many square meters? Come on, I'm giving it to those of you overseas. Instead of feet, we'll do meters. How many square meters is this structure?
You mean cubic meters?
No, we're talking about the floor, just the floor.
Floor, okay. Just the floor area. Well, I wish I knew how big the Vatican was.
It has offices, a conference room, a university complex, 2 commercial centers, hotels, an IMAX cinema, a pirate ship, an Olympic-sized skating rink. There's a water park. There's an artificial beach in it.
This is a building, right?
It is a building. It looks so cool. I'm like, I gotta go visit this sometime.
It's like a city inside a structure. That's wild.
So how many square meters is this? And I'm taking the first 4 answers from the people here. So let me get those down. You can go for it when you want.
Let me think. How many kilometers could it possibly be? How big is the Vatican City?
you know.
I can guess, like I'm doing with everything else.
Yeah, this is a pretty big. Oh, someone says I've been to that building. There's a whole water park mall inside of it, alongside with apartments and such. And this person says they recently had the whole Vatican City carpeted. I don't want to be the vacuumer for that then. All right, go ahead, make your guess.
Okay, so I'm gonna go with 35,000 square meters.
35,000 square meters. All right. The people said 1,500, 10,000, 40,000, and 20,000. The actual square meters is 1.7 million square meters. 18 million square feet, actually.
What did you say? 1 point what?
1.7 million. It is 500 meters by 400 meters, which is not quite accurate because, it's not a perfect square. But it's huge. That is huge. It is gigantic. Anyway, the point of the matter is, Z, you were closer than everyone except one. So 3 points for Z Garcia.
Huh?
Alrighty. All right, let's jump to aeroplanes.
Okay.
All right? So I talked about the Boeing plant being the biggest building in the world, being in cubic feet. So now we'll talk about Boeing itself. So I went to some facts about Boeing, and their most popular plane is, as far as I can tell, the 737. So there's a lot of these that are made. So in the fourth quarter of 2019, how many? Wait, hang on. Hang on a second.
Yeah, Tom, you don't even know. Now you scared because I got one right.
No. All right. So, yeah, how many 737s does that factory produce a month?
A month?
Yeah. How many airplanes does Boeing's, how many 737s does Boeing produce a month? Now that I'm not saying all their airplanes, because they have the 787, the 777, the 767, and the 747. But this is how many 737s, of which they have quite a few of these. It's the first commercial jet to reach a milestone of a certain number made. How many do they make a month? And boom, I got my answers. There we go. All right, Z.
Gosh, I don't know. I don't it really like this could be anything, and I would not be surprised. I'm gonna say I'm not gonna go too crazy on this. I don't know how many they could possibly make. 25 a month.
All right, 25 a month. So the people said 120, 8, 10, and 12. And the actual answer is 42, which means Z was closer than everyone, giving him 5 points.
Yes, fool. I'm back, baby. You give me plain flying questions. I know what's up. Ask me how many wings on the 737. Ask me.
Roy, what's the score? I haven't been keeping track. 11 chat, 8 Z. All right, this is our final question. Then here's your chance, Z. You can go ahead, or this will be solidified. So airplane movies. There's
done. I got
so
this.
I looked it up to see like what are the highest grossing airplane movies.
Twilight.
And the number one grossing airplane movie that considered by different websites was Pearl Harbor, and I was like, yeah, I guess. Sure, but let's talk about a more obvious one, and that's Planes. Planes. That's the Pixar movie, and I want to know what's the gross of Planes, the movie.
Like how gross it is? I don't know. Very gross.
Have you not seen it? And this is worldwide gross here, folks.
I saw Cars 2. There was a Cars 3. And I actually think between Cars 2 and Cars 3, there was that Planes movie, right?
Yeah.
It is Pixar also? It's not a ripoff?
Pixar. It is Pixar. Actually, I was looking at the Pixar movies, and this was a question I cut, but the lowest rated Pixar movie is Cars 2.
Yeah.
And then the second lowest is Cars 3. But Cars is rated pretty highly.
Cars is not bad. Oh, gosh. Okay. So worldwide box office returns is what you're asking me.
That is
for
correct.
A movie called Planes.
That is correct. I don't think I've ever actually seen this one. And I have our someone said this is not Pixar.
Yeah, in your face, Tom.
You're right. It's Disneyland Studios. It's a spin-off of the Cars franchise, but it is not the Cars franchise. I apologize if that changes people's numbers.
I just dropped a bunch of millions, yeah.
All right, what do you got?
I'm going to say it made $325 million.
325 million. The people said 14.5, 732, 300 million, and 232 million. Actual answer, 239.3 million, which means two people were closer than you, Z, which brings this answer to a tie, meaning no one gets points, meaning that the score stays the same, meaning the people win again.
What? No!
Let's go to contributors.
Hi, everybody.
Hello, we are Ryan and Bethany.
From Ryan and Bethany Board Game Reviews.
All right, well, today we're going to be talking about Pandemic Iberia. This is a standalone kind of spin-off of the original game of Pandemic, where you're fighting to cure all these diseases. This one is set apart by having it's a historical setting. It's set in the 1800s and on the Iberian Peninsula, Spain, Portugal, that kind of thing. It also has some kind of modules that it adds. It has all the diseases are actually named, like malaria, typhoid, that kind of thing. And they all have special powers that mimic things that happened in history.
Yeah.
And then also there is this patience, all the different cubes represent patience, and they can flood to these different hospitals, the research stations like in regular Pandemic. And when it gets too overcrowded, bad things happen. So just as a quick reminder, stay safe, everybody. Just practice social distancing, just like in the game. It was kind of encouraging to do that too.
Yeah, this game was so much fun. If I had to choose between playing Pandemic Iberia and Pandemic without any expansions, I would choose Pandemic Iberia all the time. I enjoyed it that much more without the expansions. But the artwork in this was so brilliant. I don't want to say like beautiful,
Yeah,
because they're drawing like viruses, but it was so engaging and captivating that you were just in that board.
Kind of like a Spanish tile vibe to it within that. It was really cool. I love the historical feeling and the historical vibe to this game. I really recommend it.
If you want to hear our full thoughts on Pandemic Iberia, check us out on YouTube under Ryan and Bethany Board Game Reviews, or you can find us on Facebook under Ryan and Bethany Board Game Reviews. Well, everybody, this is Ryan. I'm Bethany. Hoping you have a happy, healthy breakfast.
Bye everybody.
Guys.
What's up, everyone? My name is Melissa McCack, and this is Smashing Buttons and Slamming Cards. This is a segment where I talk about a video game I love and I connect it to a board game I love. And this week, I want to do something a little bit different. So I was thinking about digital board games, and specifically digital games that don't actually have a physical component to them. They don't actually have a physical board game, but they play a lot like a board game. I know in one of my segments I talked about Armello. In this segment, I want to talk about Tarsus, which is another one of these digital board games that doesn't actually have a physical board game. This one is interesting. It is a solo game where there's different events coming out. You have different crew members that have special abilities. They have dice that, you can allocate to certain events that are coming up, and you're pretty much just trying to survive until you get to Mars. It plays a lot like Deep Space D6 for those who are familiar with that solo game. And with this one, it's Deep Space D6, but has a little bit more going on. I'd say even a lot more going on in a way, because you could even bump up your technology and you can get better at certain things. There's dilemmas that you have to deal with, and you make certain choices as to what you want to do in terms of maybe do you want to get food, but then morale goes down, things like that. It's really cool. It's been a lot of fun playing it. Anyway, that's it for this week. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like, you could check out mine and my brother's podcast called Room 51. I'll catch you next time.
Happy breakfast, everybody. Gloomhaven. Straight in. It's a monstrosity of a box. It's got so many bags of stuff, but there's a few little things you can do to help yourself enjoy the experience rather than just do lots of admin every time you set up, every time you play. Now, one thing that I hate has to be the damage counters. I find that they are very small and fiddly. It's not necessarily easy to tell apart, even though they're different size. The 1s, the 5s, the 10s, they look the same, and they're just not great. An easy upgrade for me, grabbing a copy of Sagrada off the shelf. I'm just using the red dice as damage counters, but it just makes taking damage on summons or damage on enemy monsters that bit easier to manually do. The next one is that you've got potentially multiple bags of road and city events. Now there's a really quick one, and you've probably just seen it there. Just put a sticker on the bags of the ones that you're able to use. Now I used ones from leftover bits of Clank Legacy, but any sticker, even just like a red white dot or something, just to let you know, this is the bag road events or city events you can currently use. Just makes it a little bit easier. The last thing, and I've not done this for all the monsters because I've not encountered all of them, and I'm slowly doing it each time I encounter them first, is put the monsters into their own bags. Now, it does mean I have a lot of bags in this box, but every time, say, the cultist, I hate the cultists, comes out, I can pull that bag out. It's got all the cards and all the standees just straight away in there. Anyway, that's a few tips to make Gloomhaven that little bit easier to play, a little bit easier to manage, and I'm Oliver East, signing out.
Hey there everyone, it's Jen, the board game librarian, doing my usual flipping some pages and pushing some cubes. I'm taking a look this week at a book I read back when it came out, and probably pretty near and dear to my heart, is Dewey, the Small Town Library Cat That Changed the World by Vicki Myron. Of course, if you've watched my segments, you know about Aslan the Ginger Jerk, and of course Dewey is this adorable orange cat. And it's this wonderful animal biography of a cat that lives in a library. This cat that was, I believe, found in an outside book drop, taken in, and beloved by the whole community. So yes, you already know that I am a cat lady. This is Josh Wood's Cat Lady, 2 to 4 players, published by Alderac Entertainment, 30 minutes, ages 8 and up. So here we also have a very delightful and charming game to go along with a delightful and charming book about cats. A wonderful card selection game where you were trying to make sure your cat has adorable costumes, that you're feeding your cats, you're collecting cats, you're feeding them appropriately, and oh boy, do I sound like a stereotype, don't I? I just do. You've been waiting for this moment, probably, right? I think this is a wonderful game that you can teach to probably just about anyone. Yes, I did spring for the upgraded premium tin, even though I had the original, because crazy cat lady. It's, again, charming. I think it's one that appeals to a very broad range of people, and can be appealing for a lot of non-gamers as well, because cats! That's all for this week. Happy breakfast!
All right, everybody, welcome back to 20 Questions. Today, we're going to mix it up a little bit, and we are going to be doing a film. We're going to be doing a movie instead of a game. I happen to have a copy of that film right there, so I'll be flashing it on the screen if you indeed do get it right. And even if you get it wrong, I will. As always, the way this works...
You'll never know.
You'll never know what it was. I have here the 20 poker chips representing the 20 questions. Tom will be able to ask me questions, but of course the questions must come from you in the comments. So start posting them. He'll pick whatever he wants, and he will ask me. Every question he asks is going to cost him one of these, and then he may flip it after that. Half of these are nothing. It'll simply be no reward or punishment. And then from the other 10, 5 are a penalty, which will cost him an extra chip, and the other 5 will give him a random letter from the title. So, Tom, I'm going to shuffle these up whenever you are ready.
I think we might have some clues here, folks. We know it didn't come out in the last month, because Z would not have a copy of the game here. All right. Woo! Wow, the questions are coming in. All right, we'll start with a question from Nate. Is it an animated movie?
No. Would you like to flip this?
I would.
It's nothing.
All right. Mark wants to know, is it a comedy?
No.
Flip it.
Nothing.
All right. Okay, that won't help me out much, but maybe it'll help everybody else out. Was it nominated for Best Picture in the Oscars?
No. I'm waiting on you to tell me whether you want me to flip this or not.
Flip it.
That's a penalty.
That's why he was so smug asking that question. Someone says, does it have campaign mode? Well, I can't ask if it's won an Oscar if I already asked if it was nominated. All right.
So you asked if it was nominated for the Best Picture.
Ooh, that's a good thing. No. As far as you know, did this movie come out in VHS?
As far as I know, it did not.
That's actually a useful question. Although
waiting on you to tell me whether you want me to flip this.
Flip it, please.
It's nothing.
All right. I love some of the very specific things people ask, like, does it star The Rock?
That's hilarious. That's super specific.
All right. I doubt this is the case, but we'll ask this anyway. Matt wants to know, is the movie in English?
Yes.
All right. We'll flip it. I'm flipping until I get a good one.
This is a bad one. I'm gonna eat another one. You are now down to 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 of these.
Oh, I like that one. Does it have a sequel?
It does not.
Flip it.
This is also a bad one.
Are you kidding me?
It's a random. I don't know what to tell you.
He's still bitter about that loss early.
It's definitely not. Definitely 13 of these 20 are not negative ones.
Is the movie called Z's Revenge, the Reckoning?
Official question? No. Burning it.
Where was it? There was a question that I wanted to ask because I thought it was funny. Does more than Jordan wants to know? Does more than one thing blow up in the movie?
Sure. Yes.
All right. Is the lead character?
Flipping? You're not flipping.
Oh yes, I'm flipping. Sorry.
Nothing. Okay. Keep going.
Is the lead character? Well, these are the same questions, so I'll ask a Mark's question. Does it have a female in a leading role?
Yes.
All right. Flip it.
It's nothing.
Come on.
You are down to 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You are down to 9 of these. You've burnt about half.
Okay, Lunchboss says, would I, Tom Vassell, watch this with my young children?
I don't know.
Do you think?
Maybe.
Okay, well, maybe it's a good answer.
I have
Flip
no
it.
idea. I mean, that.
Give us a letter!
Good one. So I'm going to give you a letter. Here we go.
Well, no, I mean, there are some movies where you would just say no to, right? So that eliminates some movies. Like, for example, if it was Saw, you would say no. I wouldn't watch that with my young children.
I don't know that. Maybe you would. The letter is O, as in, oh, Tom, I don't know your kids that well.
Oh, Daddy. Timothy says, does the movie have a historical theme?
No.
Ooh. Ooh, Nate says,
Are you
is it
flipping
rated?
this or not?
Oh, sorry. Yes, flip it, please.
Nothing.
I'm flipping till I get a second letter or
Okay.
to a worse thing. Is it rated PG or higher?
Yes.
Unfortunately, that's not super helpful since most
Really?
movies are
PG
rated.
or higher? You might as well have asked me if it was rated G.
Well, I actually meant to say PG-13. Sorry, but too late now.
No, PG-13 or higher is still a yes. That's what I
Okay,
thought you meant. But yeah.
That's what I meant to say. Sorry, PG-13.
Yeah, okay.
Higher.
Flipping. Nothing. Next, you're down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of these in here. Okay.
Really? 6 of them left? Okay. Sebastian says, is there a lot of CGI in the movie?
Yes.
Ooh, flip it.
That is indeed a letter.
Give us another letter.
I will do so now.
What are you doing? This is your mad scientist here?
The letter is V, as in Vassal is about to go down.
Oh, V's a good letter to get. V is a very good letter to get. All right. The Mr. E wants to know, did Z see this in the movie theater?
I don't think so.
All right.
It's not really that useful. Why would... All right.
I have some
Okay.
knowledge of movies you've seen or not seen. I'll say flip it. Yeah, we're gonna keep flipping for now because yes. Okay, I'm done flipping. Give me another letter. Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one.
The letter is L, as in loser.
All right, Hannah says, does it involve a natural disaster?
No.
Oh, that was a good. Huh.
I'll come back
No,
to that if I need
we're
to.
not
I'm going to
flipping
back
it.
that answer up if I need to.
Oh man. Okay.
You're down to this is 3 now. You're down to.
All right. So for folks watching, we get one free guess at the end too.
Who said that?
Okay. You can't take everything away from us. You already took away the question extra letter thing.
Yes, I can't do it for this.
Alrighty. Okay. Does the lead female have superhuman powers?
No.
No, I'm not flipping it.
You're down to 2.
All right. I'll go back. I forget who asked this, but someone asked, is it a superhero movie at all?
No.
All right, move it out. So we got 2 guesses here. I want to actually guess names of movies here, folks.
You want me to flip this or no?
I do not, because I will flip the last one.
Okay.
All right, so we're just going to guess a movie that a lot of people said here and see if we're right. All right, so the movie is Oblivion.
Are you guessing with this?
Yeah, I'm guessing with that. Woo! Shouldn't have given us the V, Z.
Well, I can't help it. It is random. It's a random wheel. Oh, nicely done. I really thought you guys were not that close.
100% though, that is on the people. I would never have thought of that movie. That movie's one of those ones that just kind of has gone out of my head.
Sure. This doesn't work without, the hive mind. This does not work without that. I know.
Wolverine was one people were guessing, but superhero eliminated that.
Sure, right.
And then Ultraviolet was the one.
I don't know that. Okay, so come on, ye of little faith. Come on now. That movie's terrible.
Not Ultraviolet. Aeon Flux is the one I like. I like Aeon Flux.
Also kind of terrible.
Oh man, I like
not
Aeon
as bad as Ultraviolet, but it's pretty terrible.
Ultraviolet just.
I'm surprised that there wasn't. I'm surprised that there weren't the usual suspects I expected. Is the genre this? Did it come out before this year?
Well, I kind of avoided the year ones in general and how many words and. Because I was trying, I don't know, I try to ask interesting questions. I asked if it was animated.
The VHS one was, I was like, oh man, not only do I have to figure out about when VHS tapes stopped coming out, but, I don't think this got one. I would assume it did not get one. It's from 2013, so.
Alrighty, folks, well, that's
does, however, on the box, say the word ultraviolet right there. Which was some format that they were pushing to stream your content. I don't know. Nicely done, everybody.
All right, we got a few more contributors, and then we'll shut this thing down. Let's jump to them.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Aaron from the Board Game Brothers. Welcome to another Mystery and Component segment, where I show you a picture of a game piece. It's up to you to try to guess what game that piece comes from. So let's put on our thinking caps, because here is this week's picture. Okay, time's up and thinking caps off. And the answer to this week's question is The Walking Dead. The Walking Dead is a board game based on the comic book series created by Robert Kirkman. This game is a fairly simple yet fun to play dice rolling game. Players start with a limited amount of ammo, food, and gas as they control one of 6 characters from the comics as their leader of their group and must scavenge for items across the board by resolving encounter cards. Players can gain weapons and new allies to their group, which allow them to roll more dice to better succeed in their encounters. As you move around the board, you will leave a walker token behind on every space you move through. The board quickly fills up with walker tokens, which have a hidden amount of walkers that are waiting to attack, and soon you may find yourself surrounded by them. Players can fight them, but may lose some allies in the process. Players will try to reach certain locations on the board to complete either a hidden objective in their hand or one of the face-up objectives on the board. The player who completes 3 objectives first has found Sanctuary and is the winner. The Walking Dead board game is a stress-inducing die rolling game that also features art from Charlie Adlard, who also drew the art for the comics. And that's this week's game. Congratulations to everybody who got it right, and for everybody else, there's always next week. But until then, I hope you all have a happy breakfast.
This game, Rift Walker, is recommended to me as it has engine building that I like. What I think of it, coming up. Hi, it's Stella. This compact card game didn't grab my immediate attention, but never judge a book by its cover, right? There is a good amount of puzzle element to the game. You first choose an element from the center board, either draw from the deck and place it in the center area, or choose an already available one and flip, revealing a different element. You use the element to bring out your card with matching elements. These cards are the engine building part, while in your play area, you can use their powers to your advantage. Or you can use the element to turn the card you already have 90 degrees clockwise, making the numbers shown on the top left. You turn maximum twice, and these are the points you need to win. A good puzzle part is the elements cards in the center. If you chain 3 orthogonal or diagonal of the same element, you can move the matching element card from your play area to your reserve area, and these will give you end of game points. Depends on what is showing on the top left, either 3 or 7. I feel like there are a lot of replayability, a lot of combos you can do in the game. There are interactive parts too, cards that affect other players. The game does start a little slow, as some of the cards do have some text to be read, and when in play, needs to be remembered their effects. But that's no different than other engine building games, right? Game plays 2 to 4 players. I do enjoy 2-player games. It interacts directly with one other player. And my plan to combo the cards don't usually get ruined much. Well, thanks for watching. We are on the Dice Tower How to Play and Pocket Playthrough videos and Meeple University on YouTube. See you next time.
Two brothers set loose in a thrift store. This is Thrift Store Throwbacks.
Hello, everybody. So, we got a game for you today. We do. We got a good little, kind of like it is a kid's game, I guess.
Features snakes.
It does feature snakes. It does indeed, which is a little bit scary. Even I love in the rule books, too, because it says, like, hey, snakes are scary, but there's a lot of snakes that are harmless.
Yeah, but some are venomous.
What are you doing?
The game's called Hiss, so just like,
Game's called Hiss.
Like sound like a snake.
You went to school for this, right?
Yeah, studied theater for sure.
You studied theater at UCLA.
Yeah.
You done now? Hey, so in Hiss, you have these tiles, these little card tiles that have bits of snake on them. You have a whole bunch of different colors. And what you do with these is you fan these out, pick one to kind of arbitrarily be the first one. That's going to be this one right here. And then basically what you do is you get to pick a color out of the fan, and you basically can attach it to the snake that's already started. So you can pick like this one and go boop. You can also put down here ends of snakes, which will be tails. And then if you can find a head, nailed it, first try. You can go boom, and then you make a snake. If you make a whole snake, you get to take the snake, and then at the end of the game, every single card in all of your snakes will score you a point, and the player with the most points will win. So that was Hiss. This game, you do have to yell Hiss if you ever collect a snake.
Obviously, it's snakes.
Yeah.
So this game is cool because it's a kid's game, right? It helps teach
4 and up, right,
pattern recognition, color. But it's like by game right, and I like the fact that you get to build something in front of you. So you get to kind of see the fruits of your labor, and then matching those colors, and then kind of choosing when to combine things you've been working on into a super snake and stuff like that is cool.
As far as a good little kids game, it's fine. It's I mean, this is something that if a kid likes.
It's the colorful snake making tile game for ages 4 and up.
That's
exactly what it is.
But nonetheless, we are the Brothers Murph. Make sure to check out our YouTube channel. We put out top 10s, all sorts of crazy stuff, and we live stream over on Twitch and stuff. It's nice to be back on the tour. But nonetheless, I think that's going to be it for us. My name is Nick.
My name is Mike.
We're the Brothers Murph. And until next time, we'll see you in the snake pit. And that's it for another Board Game Breakfast episode. Folks, thanks so much for watching. We hope you had a good time. We certainly did. We'll be back here at 2 o'clock with Paul Deming for a top 10. So we hope you join us then. And then later on tonight at 9 o'clock, there is a live chat. I'm not sure who it is. Is it Yuzi?
It's not me. I'm tomorrow.
And that means it is Mike Delicio. Are you tomorrow? Huh. All righty. Well, cool beans then. I thought I was tomorrow, but all right, we'll see. Someone's going to be there, folks. Until next time, though, I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Z Garcia. Thanks, everybody.
See y'all later.